All right, we may be closed for cleaning in reality, but we are still open for broadcasting in your hearts. My name is Brian Richardson, and welcome to the increasingly accurately named Late Show from DragonConTV. It is Monday, September the 6th. Do we just keep adding lates to this, or we just keep adding A's to the word late? The Late Show. Anyway, the whole point of the show was to give you an update on how to survive the last day of the convention, but our ability to broadcast at 9 a.m. did not. So we still wanted to have a wrap up with you, bring you up to date on some of the things that were happening towards the end of the convention, things you might have missed Sunday night because you were just thoroughly enjoying yourself at the first in-person event we have been able to do in 2 years. As usual, you don't get the A team. No, this is better. You get the B team. So I'm on with my friend B.
Hi, Brian. How are you today?
Good. Your room over there in the bowels of the hotel looks like it's getting packed up. Are you getting ready to head home after con?
That's right. I'm actually going to go ahead and spend the night tonight and drive home tomorrow so that can kind of have a good night's sleep and be fresh for the drive.
Yeah, I'm doing the same thing. We're hanging around tonight for just a couple of gathers and hangouts with the friends who are sticking around, and then I fly back to Oregon at the end of the week after a family visit. So a lot of travel this week, but I wish. It kind of hurts me that we're not doing this on stage like we normally do. You're not in Centennial with me because I was really hoping to close out the in-person event in person, but we still, I think, really wanted to have the opportunity to put a proper button on this thing. And I want to thank Bob and Carl for actually cleaning up the stream, both literally and figuratively, for our end credits. And also the intros you've been seeing this week were put together by Aaron Sugar. He was the one who came up with the running gag of adding more closed for cleaning objects to the screen as it went on. And we came up with that intro last year when we were virtual, and we've just continued using the format. And I think it gives us a nice little pop in the mornings, and I greatly appreciate it. It makes me feel like that I'm actually awake and had some coffee recently, because it brings back memories of being in Centennial too early in the morning. Anyway, what are we going to cover for our wrap-up? Let's go into the Dragon Awards. B, why don't you talk about the Dragon Awards?
All right, so here at DragonCon, we have the Dragon Awards, which are a set of literary and media awards. Now, these awards are very unique because the nominees are both nominated and then voted on by fans. And so, if you're like me, got a long commute for work, and you are listening to audiobooks and you're thinking, okay, what am I going to listen to next? Well, then this is a great list because these are chosen by my con family, and I know that my fellow nerds are going to have some amazing picks for us. So we are going to actually share out the winners of those Dragon Awards today.
Cool. And before we do that, let's complete the B team by bringing Briana on board. Because, Briana, you're from home again.
I am. Hi. Sorry I'm extra late to the late show. But I'm glad to be
That's not a problem.
Right,
your audio's cutting out a little bit. We're getting back into the wonders of working with the Zooms. So I think you might have a problem with your speaker. I don't think it's loving your headphones at the moment.
Is that a bit better?
Not really.
Oh, I apologize.
This is why we love being in the ballrooms, to be perfectly honest, because we can get tech ops to fix the audio problems.
I apologize.
Anyway, That's okay. All right, so why don't we go ahead? B, why don't you start? Let's go through our Dragon Award winners.
Alrighty, so we're going to start with the best science fiction novel. The winner is Project Hail Mary by Andy Weir.
Excellent. And best fantasy novel, including paranormal, was Battleground by Jim Butcher.
Oh, I just bought his book. Go buy it in the vendor hall.
Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, Briana,
Okay.
tell us about best young adult.
Perfect. So yes, the best young adult and middle grade novel is A Wizard's Guide to Defensive Baking by T. Kingfisher. That sounds really intriguing, actually.
That kind of sounds like the way I cook, to be perfectly honest.
I think I've got to add that one to my list.
Yeah.
All right, so in best military science fiction or fantasy novel, the winner was Gun Runner by Larry Correia and John D. Brown.
And our best alternate history novel was 1637, No Peace Beyond the Line by Eric Flint and Charles Gannon.
Best media tie-in novel was Firefly Generations by Tim Lebon. I hope I said that correctly.
In the best horror novel category, the winner is The Hollow Places by T. Kingfisher. Was that 2 books on this list by T. Kingfisher? Alrighty,
Yes.
Apparently we need to check him out.
Excellent. We're getting into now best comic book, which was X-Men by Jonathan Hickman and Mahood Asrar, I'm sorry.
Best graphic novel, The Magicians, New Class by Lev Grossman, Lila Sturges, and Pius Back.
I was really excited for this next winner. I was really rooting for this, so I'm so excited to share this with you. But the best science fiction or fantasy TV series is, of course, The Expanse on Amazon.
Oh, yes. I have so many opinions about season 5 and the Emmys, and I will not share them here because it's a family show. But another one that makes me happy, best science fiction or fantasy movie was The Old Guard by Gina Prince Blythewood. Netflix made me so happy with that one.
Agreed.
Mm-hmm. Oh, is it my turn? I apologize.
Yes.
So the best, I was reading it like, that's so cool. The best science fiction or fantasy PC console game is Assassin's Creed Valhalla by Ubisoft. And I was just thinking that just because my fiance plays it all the time. And I was like, I know that one. That's so cool. There you go.
Well, coming over to the best science fiction or fantasy mobile game, we have Harry Potter Puzzles and Spoils by Zynga.
And best science fiction or fantasy board game, Dune Imperium by Direwolf Games.
It is really good. If you've not played that one, I really agree with that one.
Best science fiction or fantasy miniatures collectible card role-playing game is Warhammer Age of Sigmar Soulbound role-playing game Cubicle 7. That's a mouthful. Oof.
That's an easy title to remember.
Yes.
Yeah, just put that on your wish list and it'll take up most of it. All right, that gets us through the Dragon Awards. And thank you to the fans of DragonCon. It's a fan submission and fan vote system for the Dragon Awards. And if you haven't seen a picture of the Dragon Awards, look it up online. You can go to dragoncon.org and look at the awards section. It's a beautiful glass sculpture. It's so gorgeous. And thanks again for everybody for nominating and voting. And hopefully we'll have another strong selection of candidates for next year. All right, B, getting ready to bring on our guest.
That's right. So we do have a guest today. It is the Dragon Award nominee, Rick Partlow. So he was nominated for his book, Direct Fire, in the Best Military Science Fiction or Fantasy Novel category. And so this year, this category in particular was filled with a really good crop of books. So please welcome Rick Partlow.
Hi, how you doing?
Good.
Well, thank you
Thanks
for being
joining
here.
us from literally like just around the corner at your hotel room.
It's my pleasure.
I think we have a number of hotels like represented. We have the Hilton,
Yeah.
we have the Hyatt, so just really from all across DragonCon. Well,
spread out.
Rick, your book, Direct Fire, was nominated. Can you tell us a little bit about the book as well as the Drop Trooper series that it's actually a part of?
It's about a young refugee from post-apocalyptic Mexico who is orphaned and treks across the desert to a futuristic Los Angeles and winds up as a street con man living off the street. And when he is convicted of felony murder, he's given the choice of going to punitive hibernation or joining the Marines because we're at war and we need all the people we can get.
Well, I wanted to say, Rick, congratulations on your Dragon Award nomination. As I was saying earlier, the Dragon Awards are different in that, like, your nomination actually came from a fan, and so I was wondering, like, what does it mean to you to have that nomination coming from your fan, your readers? What does that mean to you?
Oh, it's very humbling. I mean, it's just the thought that when they see that category, they thought of my book. I mean, it just blew me away.
So does it kind of feel different? Like, there are awards in which you are nominated by your peers. Like, which do you prefer?
Oh, definitely this one.
That's right. Good answer. That was the right answer.
Absolutely. So, Rick, I do have a question. How does being ex-military impact your work?
It impacts it quite a bit. It gives me an insight, not into like the combat, because I've never been inside powered armor dropping out of a spaceship, but it's the mentality when you're faced with days and days of boredom punctuated with seconds or minutes of sheer terror, and the whole military mindset, the bureaucracy, everything seeming to take a lot longer than it needs to. It all comes through, and it's the same in any time period from the Romans all the way to now.
Yeah, I can definitely see the connection there.
Rick, you were part of a panel, a DragonCon panel, and it was about killing off beloved characters in your work. So could you speak about that and how it went?
It was a very interesting panel. The other writers on the panel seemed more bloodthirsty than I was, actually, in the killing their own characters. I feel it like kind of right here whenever I kill my own characters, and I hesitate to do it unless it's really meaningful. It really speaks to the plot. Some other people are just like, "Oh, you like this character? How am I going to kill them?"
Was there anyone in the audience that was like very mad at you and expressed that?
No, nobody was mad at me. There were some hard feelings towards the other writers.
Oh, it sounds
Tough
like they
place
might
to
have been
be.
deserved.
So, with the military experience, the thing you're also doing is developing a future world. So you're not sending people, off into the future with like an M4 carbine, right? So you're having to develop futuristic weapons. But you also did a panel about that at DragonCon. How did that go?
Well, that was the most interesting one I was on. It was just a field of, there was like a font of information. Everybody there was an expert in the field and had done extensive research, and it was just a pleasure listening to them all. And I felt almost underqualified, even though I've been writing science fiction and researching this since I was a teenager. These people had like worked in the defense industry. It was really interesting. And they weren't just talking about your usual, what are you going to shoot with? They were talking about information warfare and things like that I hadn't even thought of.
So while we're on the subject of the future, what should we watch out for? Like, what kind of cautionary thing do you think we're getting out of your insights from these experts?
Oh, well, I think the two things that came through that are going to happen and we're going to regret is more extensive information warfare that will basically make people not able to trust anything they see anywhere, and automated autonomous armed drones that will be able to decide who they're going to shoot and who they're not going to shoot without any human input.
Oh, that's not creepy at all. B, I hope you have a better follow-up question than that.
Well, you were on all of the panels this weekend, which was really amazing. One of the panels, you were on a whole panel of authors that talked about works released in the last 5 years. So, recently released books that folks should read. So very quickly, like give me your top 3. Who do I need to go add to my Audible today?
Well, my first pick was Richard Fox. He writes the Ember Wars, and I just love his Iron Dragoons book. It's the Terran Armored Corps. It's just a great book that really calls back to classic tropes of armored space marines, which you've seen like all the way from Starship Troopers all the way up to Warhammer 40K. It's one of my favorite ones. That's what Drop Trooper is about. It's a one of my favorite conceits, even though it probably is a little bit unrealistic. It's so cool, and that trumps everything else. Aside from that, the other one I picked was a lesser known author who I really enjoyed his book. Its name is Josh Hayes. I actually know the man, but I read his book first. It's called Edge of Valor. And it's, you read that one? It's like Courage Under Fire meets Black Hawk Down in space. I really enjoyed that one. It was especially since I love both those movies. And he was in the military police, and his investigative background comes through.
Okay. Cool. Well, Rick, we are glad that you could join us for the show. And again, I really wanted to do this in person this morning. Thanks for rolling with the punches and dealing with the chaos that is DragonCon. Hopefully you've left with some inspiration and a desire to come back in the future.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
All right, cool. And with that, we're going to actually go into another part of the convention that you might have missed. If you hadn't noticed, especially if you're watching the stream up until closed for cleaning, you'll notice that we like puppets here at DragonCon. It's kind of a thing for us. Puppetry has a deep connection to Atlanta, and a lot of the folks that are in DragonCon have some kind of inspiration either from watching the Muppets or actually being professional puppeteers themselves. And there's a really cool, honestly, I don't know how to describe it, which is why we sent Michael Keene to take a look at it. He has an interesting viewpoint on the world, which I think will help us understand the world of Ultimate Puppet Ninja Warrior. I'm going to go ahead and roll that segment.
Puppets. What are they? What is the definition of the word puppet? Oh. Well, either which way, we are here at Puppetry Track, and it is a freaking a vision of excitement. We have a crap load of people ready to rock and roll in this, the sport of champions. It is Puppetry Ninja Warrior. Now, if you've never heard of Puppetry Ninja Warrior, don't you worry, warriors. Let's dig in and get our hands dirty. Wow, it's puppets. It's not those kind of puppets, though. We're not like sticking our hands into. They're like, well, you'll see. Come on, let's do a thing. So the Puppetry Track. It's a mysterious track. It's a track a lot of people don't know about, uncertain about. There's a lot of mystery surrounding it, sort of a fog. What would you like people who are not in the know to know about the Puppetry Track?
I would love for folks to know, A, that it exists. So already, congratulations. Well done. You now know that. Terrific. This is the 10th year for the Puppetry Track at DragonCon. So what I love is that little by little, step by step, moment by moment, the awareness of the Puppetry Track has been growing. And that is not unlike puppetry itself. Puppetry is one of the oldest art forms in existence. For thousands and thousands of years, we've been doing it. But with puppetry, the less you notice, the better, right? It's about the puppet, the thing. So puppeteers tend to be either introverted or shy or only come to life through their artifact. And I think the Puppetry Track is sort of the same way, right? The more confidence we've gotten in our puppet, our track, the more we've been able to step out and let people know it exists. So I think it's happening organically, not unlike it happens with puppetry.
Sick as hell. And what did you think of today's activities?
Oh my gosh, come on, it's magical, right? I know I'm brought to tears because seriously, these folks had never met. But in that spirit of DragonCon and in that spirit of no ego, they just said yes and did it. So just watching it happen, no matter what happens with the outcome, obviously, that's the magic. That's the magic. And that's DragonCon magic too, right? Complete strangers coming together that become family over the love of something that you don't know other people like, and then you're so thrilled when they do.
There's not any real precedent for visually covering Puppetry Ninja Warrior. It is a striking performance art and sport. And I guess we're just going to dig into a little bit of a montage of the events today. Could you please say, drop the bass?
Drop the bass!
We have
Alrighty. Well, we had a wild bit of puppetry action just now. Truly a sight to behold, something I don't think I'll ever forget. It was the most action-packed moment of the entire con for me, and that is not hyperbole in the least. Working with two other people to craft this art form, how much training and how much work goes into that?
Not a lot of training. We had about an hour's worth of basic training as a team to go through the first round of the obstacle course. And then for our team today, we actually had a new person come in from our original team from yesterday. So it was all about listening to one another and kind of verbally prompting as we're going through and playing off of one another and kind of tackling those obstacles as they came, like the rope snapping.
I wasn't too nervous. We were just focusing on us. We weren't even really worried about the other team. We were just going to look at the obstacle course, just take it on how we were going to do it. We weren't going to really worry about what the other team was doing.
We wanted to actually add a challenge, so we added our lovely gator here, and that we think that really motivated our puppet to puppet as much as he could puppet. We like a challenge, and so I think we rose to the occasion.
We came, we saw, we conquered. Boom! If this was my mic, I would throw it to the ground right now. Holy God, yeah! Adrenaline, woo! Well, thank you so much, guys, for talking with us. Thank you for competing and bringing a little bit of extra very needed entertainment this year. Any last words for the world out there for DragonCon who might not know about this particular sport of champions? Anything to say to get those butts in seats next year?
I like puppets.
This girl likes puppets. You want to see her like puppets more? Puppetry track. Come on.
Well, that happened.
It was
So, Briana, I don't want to say that you're responsible for that, but you could be credited for that. But also, to be honest, credited for doing all of our segment production this year. You've been in charge of this team and sending them into the bowels of the hotel and bringing out a lot of the DragonCon experience that a lot of people just honestly don't get to see. And how's that been for you this year?
Absolutely. So it's been there's just almost no words to describe it. It's wonderful. It's exhausting. It's rewarding. But that's how it goes to be behind the scenes of the con and especially in this department. So this side is DCTV News, and all I can say is it's been wonderful having a great crew who's been putting above and beyond. And with the puppetry one you just saw, we didn't know what to expect. We just saw Ultimate Puppet Ninja Warrior, and we said, we got to see what that's about. So we sent Michael, and he saw what that was about, and that was what that was about. So
and they weren't lying about the drone, right? Michael brought an indoor drone to shoot that.
Yes, that's the beauty of what we do is we try to keep to a general standard of how we're going to present our works, but some of our folks are if they get the time they can get really creative, especially if they bring their own equipment. So especially Michael, who was the one who had produced that one, he had the drone and it was pretty sweet stuff. So we like it to make things fun like that. So I think that was one of our best segments, at least most energetic ones for sure. It wakes you up. Yeah. So absolutely. And I would like to say
oh look,
it's Michael.
Wild Michael appears. He's super effective.
Hey Michael,
wow.
Hey. I hope y'all weren't too offended by my cinematography.
No. If you're gonna say drop the bass, then that is the appropriate cinematography. If you said drop the bass and then we just did a Ken Burns pan and scan, I would have been entirely disappointed. But Michael, as usual, I appreciate your interesting perspective on the world, especially on the puppets. Briana, thanks for keeping him tame and contained to the task at hand. I know it's a little bit difficult sometimes with our team.
And it also might be a team effort by some of the other members, because how can you contain Michael? No, he's wonderful.
That is a question we will have to ponder for the 2022 convention.
Absolutely.
And B, Briana, Michael, and for a lot of the team that you can't see right now because they're literally in other parts of the hotel putting things in crates The reason that B's office right now is looks as neat as it does is because 2 hours ago that was like a packing zone. It looked like we were like evacuating, a country. It's chaos on Monday when y'all leave. And B also is, by the way, is behind the switcher for the late shows that we were doing in the Centennial, and also produced some really killer segments this year as well. So for the both of you from the news and production side, I want to thank you both for making my job a lot easier by reducing it to just sitting in a chair and talking into a camera. And so, again, thank you both for the work you've done this year. And speaking of which, I'm going to let you two sign off, and I just want to have a small moment for closing,
Sure.
closing up the show. But thank you both so much, and the rest of the crew that put together the first in-person event we've done in 2 years, and and showing the world that we're actually back. Great.
My
Thank you,
2
Brian.
cents before I split is
Yes.
please visit our Facebook and YouTube because you can
Yes.
see all this stuff that you missed for DragonConTV there. And that's all. Thank
that is
you,
it. Yes.
everybody.
Yeah, we're going to be uploading stuff for the next couple of days. So for the next, if you go to the YouTube page, especially, I hate to sound like your average YouTuber, like and subscribe and hit the bell. You will get notified when these videos come out. And we had been producing bumpers before the show. We're going to be uploading the segments after the show. So your con drop can kind of get mitigated through the wonders of free digital content.
Yep. Plus,
And
you
Brian,
support our
there's-
wonderful team.
Yeah, and
That's
there's
it.
content that gets dropped throughout the year as well. So that's why
Absolutely.
you have to go like and subscribe.
Sometimes you drop the bass, sometimes you drop the content. You never know which one until you hit the button.
That's it. Well, thank
All
you,
right, thank you
guys,
both.
so much. Have a good one.
Bye.
Yeah, if this seems a little weird that we're doing this thing on a Monday afternoon when you're normally supposed to be going home, it is weird. I did a sign off last year from my house in Oregon in front of a green screen. I've kind of had the pleasure of, through the late show and through some of the panel moderation, like I did the last panel in Centennial this year with the Batwoman cast. I've been doing this crazy show since 1998 in one form or another. And this was the thing that I missed last year. And the reason that it's a little tough not being in the room for this is because it's nice to be able to see everybody's face when we sign off. And that was kind of one of the hard things to deal with last year. And coming back here has been important. I didn't really have time to think about what I was going to say this morning, but I did want to kind of express that this has been a weird year. Last year was weird in its own way. We expect weird at DragonCon, and what I've been talking to the guest, and we've had a lot of first-time guests this year, is like, this is supposed to be weird, but this is not the weird that you were expecting. This is another kind. We have to acknowledge that a lot of the people we wanted to come back didn't, and some of those are for not great reasons. Some people have stayed away this year because they needed for this health and safety of their family, and that includes a lot of our volunteers. The show you saw this year was produced by a skeleton crew. We had fewer resources, less equipment, less volunteers, and we still put on what I think is a magnificent show. So I want to make sure that the volunteers understand how much love they've been getting. I get to stick my face in this rectangle multiple times a day. And so everybody thinks this at some point, oh, Brian's doing all this work. I haven't run this department since 2017. I am now in a role where I help represent the convention as a face, as a voice. There are literally dozens of people that just have to do video. There's thousands of people that just make sure the show runs. And it's been fantastic coming into this event. I haven't really been able to pick which part of it I like the best because I just actually like being here. This has been a community thing, and we had a great community that built DragonCon Goes Virtual last year, and we still have a fantastic one that's making this show run in the physical space. What I want to make sure we understand is that this year, if you feel the con drop a little harder, if it feels more emotional going home, that's perfectly okay. Because for all of us it is. Because this is the first time in 24 months we've gotten to do exactly what we wanted to do, which is come in, put on our silly little show, and let you escape from the reality of the world for 4 or 5 days. It's harder to do that, I know, walking around with a cloth cover over your face or hand sanitizer every 200 feet, but it's the thing that we did to make sure that you came to the show and you had the escape that you needed for that long weekend. And, you know, I have a dear friend of mine, Cole Stant, who unfortunately he passed away. He was an important part of building what you see now as the show. He's one of those many people that you never got to meet and never got to see in front of the camera because he spent all that effort and time working on putting this production together. And so for people like him and for everyone who couldn't make it back because they felt like they weren't ready, we understand. But next year, I want you to know that we'll be here for you when you are, because we look forward to this more, the same, if not more than you do. As much as you like attending the thing, we like making the thing happen. And from all of us here at DragonCon, thank you so much for your support and the kind words you've given to me to pass on to the volunteers. And the next time I say these words to you, I hope it's in a ballroom full of your smiling faces. Take care of yourselves, and we will see you in 2022.